comet, asteroid, or something else. A Harvard astrophysicist believes there's a strong likelihood this is a craft of alien ancestry. Something is happening near Mars, and the official story isn't adding up. A comet from deep space, 3 Atlas, just carried out a move that our best science says is impossible. It didn't simply alter course. It appeared as if it was pushed and grabbed by something. The most shocking fact: NASA's internal alerts immediately turned orange, triggering the biggest planetary defense scramble in decades. They know more than they're advising us, from the object's bizarre chemical signature to its unnatural change in brightness. Many have overlooked that this celestial visitor might not be a simple comet at all. NASA's nightmare in deep space was supposed to be a typical interstellar flyby, a footnote in astronomical journals. However, Comet 3 Atlas just transformed Mars into the location of NASA's worst nightmare. At 2:13 a.m. Pacific Time, a single red flag appeared on the Jet Propulsion Laboratory's mission dashboard. The system had just caught a 3.2% orbital deviation in the comet's path as it flew past the red planet. This outlier was so large and so far off the models that the automated alert skipped yellow and jumped straight to orange. A crisis call was triggered. Within minutes, the night shift engineers, halfway through routine system checks, were scrambling. Phones lit up, Slack channels filled with pings like mushrooms after rain. The lead trajectory analyst, still in sneakers from a midnight coffee run, suddenly found himself responding to calls from planetary defense, Mars operations, and the top floor. At first, many ignored the event's sheer magnitude. The control room, typically quiet and competent, became thick with tension. Every screen was filled with live telemetry, air logs, and projections that didn't make sense. The deviation was quickly confirmed by 2 independent observatories, one in Japan, another in Spain, within the hour. Now, the question wasn't if the data was real, but how much worse it could get. By 2:30 a.m., the emergency protocol was in full effect. The on-call Planetary Defense Coordinator authorized a full-scale teleconference. NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office, the European Space Agency's navigation team, and Japan's deep space specialists all logged on. The agenda was brutally simple: determine whether the deviation suggested a large-scale violent solar event, or something no one had even begun to anticipate. That call ran for 8 straight hours, shattering records for any anomaly response at JPL. Arguments broke out over whether the multi-billion-dollar assets orbiting Mars needed to be put into safe mode immediately. Some pushed for an urgent risk reevaluation. Others warned that panic could compromise critical science operations. No one tells you how fast chaos spreads in these situations.
The phrase unprecedented event appeared in 3 separate memos before sunrise over Pasadena. A single log entry, time-stamped 3:07 a.m., simply read, greater than deviation confirmed. No model works. Awaiting further guidance. As dawn broke, the exhausted night crew realized they'd just triggered the largest planetary defense scramble since the Chelyabinsk meteor rocked Russia more than a decade ago. Although the alert level remained orange, calm had vanished. For the first time in years, JPL's most seasoned engineers openly questioned whether their playbook still applied. Next steps would depend on answers no one yet had. Only one thing was certain: 3 Atlas had just rewritten the rules for interstellar flybys, and every Mars-orbiting mission was now on high alert. This enigmatic visitor story was only beginning to unfold. A comet unlike any other. Across the Atlantic, the European Space Agency's navigation lab had already crunched the numbers before sunrise. Their sophisticated models, built on decades of tracking comets, hit a brick wall. None could explain the sudden 1.5 spike in the brightness of 3 Atlas. This surge tripled the comet's light output in less than 4 hours. This wasn't a slow brightening from a thawing comet, it was a cosmic flare going off. Spectrographs, instruments that dissect light to determine composition, flagged something stranger still. A cyanogen emission line twice as strong as anything seen from previous interstellar visitors like Oumuamua. Even the Japanese team, using the Subaru telescope in Hawaii, verified the same spectral fingerprint. Once 3 independent agencies report 3 matching anomalies, you know you're dealing with a real issue. Data piled up, and each new piece made the puzzle more confusing. Photometric logs from Hubble, Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, and other telescopes show the object's light curve veering far outside expected limits. This wasn't a blip, it was a sustained deviation, forcing a total recalibration of the comet's size, reflectivity, and mass estimates. ESAS analysts, typically conservative, revised the comet's core size up by nearly 30%, suggesting 3 Atlas could span several miles across, not the modest rocky snowball first imagined, but the real shock was in the chemistry. The intense cyanogen gas raised new flags. Normally, cyanogen emissions come alongside water and carbon monoxide, a chemical trio that reveals what's boiling off as sunlight hits a comet's surface. But this time, water vapor barely registered and carbon monoxide was completely missing. What remained was a plume of cyanogen gas so pure and intense that ESAS lead spectroscopist called it unprecedented in a memo that was later leaked. The numbers didn't just look odd. They broke the playbook for comet chemistry.